39 points, 8 assists on the Knicks. Vince, isn't he supposed to be tired or something? 3 kids now.
Hey, maybe they gave him life. Extra, he powered up.
Brian, you've got one.
Just
and
wait till
you're
he
tired.
goes on the road and gets some sleep.
Right? Well, that's true.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, I'm sure he can't wait.
Very sweet by Dame. He said that having children has given him perspective, allowed him to understand that if he has a bad game, that's all it is. So he said he started playing better after Dame Jr. was born 3 years ago. The league better watch out if he's going to play 3 times as well. Just saying. Welcome to the Jump, everyone. Bum, bum, bum. I'm Rachel Nichols. I'm joined by our esteemed panel today. First, we have the host of the Hoop Collective podcast, New York Times bestseller, Brian Windhorst. We also have 8-time All-Star and the only person to ever play 22 seasons in the NBA, future Hall of Famer, Vince Carter. Welcome, gentlemen. Coming up, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about Steph Curry. He passed Reggie Miller for second on the all-time threes made list this past weekend. When will Steph pass Ray Allen? Stick around for that. First, though, winning streaks are a funny thing. Sometimes they can bring a team together. Remember back in 2010 when LeBron first got to Miami and the start of the season was kind of a mess with the big three struggling to fit and Eric Spoelstra facing daily questions about whether he'd be fired? The team held a players-only meeting, reeled off a 12-game win streak, and became the powerhouse that would go on to win 2 titles in 4 years. But winning streaks can also end up meaning not much. Last year's Bucks won 18 straight, only to get thumped in the second round of the playoffs. Back in 2008, the Rockets won 22 in a row, then lost in the first round. So how should we look at the Clippers and Jazz right now? LA is on a 7-game win streak, a run fueled by Paul George playing some of the best basketball of his career, and by Kawhi Leonard, who has not only shown up for the Clippers, but is doing it consistently. This current Clippers streak includes Kawhi's first back-to-back games in nearly 4 years. Kawhi has also done what big stars are supposed to do, like yesterday, when much of the team appeared it hadn't quite woken up yet for the early Sunday afternoon tip. Leonard took things into his own enormous hands, outscoring the entire Thunder starting lineup in the first quarter and finishing with 34, 9, and 8. To me, everything the Clippers do this regular season is important. Since last year, we saw what happened when the team tried to skip steps. This time, they're giving themselves a much stronger foundation. But will the result be any different? Yeah, we don't know yet. As for the Jazz, well, they're on an 8-game winning streak right now, one of the league's top 5, both offensively and defensively. Nearly all their wins so far this season have come by double digits. And Donovan Mitchell has clearly hit the gas pedal during this streak, putting up 27 a game. So what does Utah's streak mean? According to Steve Kerr, a lot. This weekend, the Warriors coach said of Utah, quote, "They are trying to win a championship right now, and I think they are capable of doing so. You know, they are where we were 3 or 4 years ago," which is, well, quite the comparison. 3 or 4 years ago, Golden State had Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green all playing at the height of their powers on a team that was itself drawing comparisons to the 98 Bulls. I'm not sure that I think Utah's winning streak already puts them in that category. And it's important to remember that just last season, the Jazz had a 10-game win streak and still lost in the first round. Still, both the Jazz and the Clippers runs, they sure feel like something significant, and neither is over yet. So, Vince, let's start with you. Who do you feel is the second best team in the West right now, giving some deference to the defending champion Lakers? Do you feel the Clippers slot in as their biggest rival in the West, or the Jazz, given what you've seen this past week or two?
I mean, the Jazz are playing great basketball, and they're like you said, they're on a mission. But I still think the Clippers are hungry, and they're also on a mission. They're trying to get to that Western Conference Finals again because they felt like, not again, but to get where they should have been last year because they felt like they let an opportunity slip away. So I think they're hungry, and they're playing great basketball as well. So I still give the edge to the Clippers, even though you asked me this in maybe 2 weeks. It could be the Utah Jazz if they continue to play like they're playing.
Yeah, I think the Clippers have a higher ceiling because they have guys on their roster who Kawhi, who's been a Finals MVP a couple of times. But the one thing about these two teams that you have to pay attention to, It's 2021, three-point shooting. The Clippers are number 1 in the league in three-point shooting percentage. The Jazz are number 2. The Jazz are number 1 in overall three-pointers made per game. That's what Steve Kerr is talking about, Rachel. He's talking about it reminds him of a team that plays good defensively and also overwhelms the opponent with high-volume three-point shooting. Now, the Clippers' defense at the start of this win streak was ranked in the bottom 5 in the league. They've played better, and now they've crawled into the top 15. So the Jazz are playing more consistently on defense, and that's something that matters. Look, mid-February, I think it's February 12th and 13th, somewhere around Valentine's Day, the Jazz go to L.A. and play a little two-pack of games against the Clippers and Lakers. That will be a good referendum, something to look forward to.
Very, very interesting. Look, they're fun teams to watch right now. And it's pretty fun watching Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert and Jordan Clarkson and everybody on that squad. Really, you can see them learning what they are right now. And that's really fun as well, to watch a team figuring out just how much firepower it has. Now, guys, I want to move on to the eastern side of the bracket here. Let's move on to Jaylen Brown, who had a historic performance last night. He dropped 33 points in just 19 minutes. And according to Elias Sports, that's the most point by any player in fewer than 20 minutes in the shot clock era. That dates, guys, back to 1955. When you have done something no one has done since 1955, it is a big deal.
That's crazy.
And it gets the attention of 11-time champ Bill Russell, who tweeted at Jaylen, "Great playing tonight. Keep it up." So, Brian, is Jaylen Brown on your most improved player ballot already?
He's on my most improved player ballot. He's on the All-Star ballot. He's on the All-NBA ballot. I got to be honest with you. There's only 3 or 4 players in this league right now I would probably trade Jaylen Brown for. And the contract that he signed, while it is a $100 million contract, is well less than the max, making the Celtics thrilled that they got him on that deal. He's arguably one of the most valued dollar-for-dollar players in the league right now. And if you watch the way he got the points in this game, he showed everything. He created turnovers and scored in transition. He took the ball to the basket. He came off of screens on catch and shoots and shot it. He did pull-ups. It was a complete display of how well-rounded his game was going to be. A couple of years ago, when he was in his second year, I kind of thought he was going to be a sort of a 3-and-D player. Hard-nosed defender who would score when the ball came to him. He wasn't getting the ball much. Now you look at him and say he's a foundational piece of a championship contender.
I agree. I definitely think he's tops for most improved. And you could see at the end of last year, the way he was playing and the confidence that he was playing with, that lets you know going through the summer, and well, whenever, I guess it wasn't a summer, but going into next year, he was going to play with a lot of confidence, and he hit the ground running from the beginning of the season. So, I think they're 1A and 1B when you're talking about the best players and most important players on the Celtics team. And when he goes and when Tatum goes, their team goes, and then you add Kemba Walker. So I think right now, most improved, like you said, an all-star, he's playing right at all-star level that he's playing at right now. And look out for Jaylen Brown, because the Celtics have a great opportunity to come out of the East because they play on both ends extremely hard.
Vince, what did you notice about playing against Jaylen Brown when you went against him over the past few years?
He could do everything. Very athletic. He's a guy at 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" in that area who can guard 1 through 4. I mean, you can see his jump shooting and his three-point shooting and his confidence putting the ball on the floor just start to soar in every year. And now watching him from afar, thinking back to seeing him his rookie year, like Brian said, you didn't know at first, and you're like, oh yeah, he's a pretty good player, and now he's becoming a special player, and he will be getting a max soon.
See, this is one of the awesome things about having Vince Carter in the show, like number 207. He's his own basketball reference. He has been able to play against and judge every player in the NBA over the last 2 decades and can give you their progression right off the bat. So, Vince, we appreciate that. We're going to have a lot more of Vince Carter coming up, as well as me and Brian. He's going to give us his top 3 dunkers in the game today in this next segment. You are going to want to stick around for that. First, though, here's a distant replay. This date in 2020, when LeBron passed Kobe on the all-time scoring list. The jump was in Philadelphia for this game, and it was a moment.
Became the 3rd leading scorer in NBA history, passing Kobe Bryant.
I'm not even going to talk about what happened the next day. I'm going to savor this.
All that's left ahead of him is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Karl Malone. Everybody in the building.